In part one, we were saying that the most liberal permissions apply. So let's say that Fred is a member of both management and HR. Well, HR may have more permissions than management, and so thus Fred has full HR permissions. He has the most liberal permissions. But the one exception to that is when there's an explicit deny. So let's go back and take a look here at our folder, PCC, Properties, Security. Now, I have added here management. And Fred, by the way, is a member of the management group. So the management group has full absolute access, full permissions to everything. However, let's say that Fred is kind of a junior member and I don't want Fred to be able to write things to that folder. So I'm going to give Fred here some explicit permissions and take away, I'm going to deny write permissions. So right now, Fred cannot write into anything in that folder, and that is going to override his management permissions. So Fred will not have write permissions in this case because of the explicit deny. And I've made that abundantly clear here that you would use deny permissions to explicitly or to deny a specific user when it's necessary to override permissions that are otherwise allowed to the group. Now here's the order of precedence. Explicit deny has precedence over explicit allow, and explicit allow has precedence over inherited deny, and inherited deny has explicit permissions over inherited allow. The owner of a file or a folder has ultimate say over permissions. Let's go back over here again, and this time I'm going to click the Advanced tab. And now you can see that Roger is the owner. Why am I the owner? Because I'm the one that created it, and that is an important point. The owner is the person who created it. Sometimes, by the way, we call that discretionary access control. It is up to the discretion of the owner as to who has what kinds of permissions. Printers can also have permissions set, standard permissions and special permissions. So there are standard permissions and there are special permissions. Let's go back here and let's take a look at those. Properties, Security. And in this case, these are the standard permissions, but I'm going to click the Advanced tab. And then I'm going to click Add. And we'll just select Fred here, I guess. Pick on Fred a lot. These are the regular, the basic, or the standard permissions. But over here you see something called Show Advanced Permissions. And it turns out that this particular set is a collection of, in fact, let's turn some of these off. I'm just going to turn on, no, I don't want to turn out. Let's just turn on Read Permissions. I'm going to click Show Advanced Permissions, and you'll see that read includes listing, reading, extended attributes, reading permissions. So there are various more granular permissions. These are the advanced permissions. So the basic ones or the standard ones are collections of the more granular ones. And you do have control over the very granular permissions as well. I want to bring out these things that I have in red here because these are the ones that trip people up a lot on tests. You have to have modify permissions, at least as high as modify permissions, in order to have delete capabilities. I cannot delete if I don't have modify. And that one is one that they really like to, in Microsoft particularly, really likes to try to nail you on. And then full control, the difference, you know, if you just had all these others checked, it would seem like you would have full control, but full control also allows you to change permissions and to take ownership. All right, I think that's it for permissions. We're going to take on share permissions next. These were security permissions, or sometimes called NTFS permissions.